Hello Arundel class. So today you're going to start planning your water aid poem. So over the last couple of days you have spent some time researching a little bit about water aid when we looked at a water walk poem by Martin Kinsko and some of the other resources that we had on Google Classroom. And then yesterday you were looking at figurative language. So you were thinking about similes and metaphors and personification and alliteration and all of those things that can make our poetry really effective. So to help you plan today, I'm going to show you a couple of slides, which, because I know figurative language can be a really tricky thing. So hopefully this will give you some support in order to get you started. So let's have a little look at the slides. Right, so if we start with this first slide here. So what I would suggest today is to think about some poetry sentence starters to get you going. I've made some suggestions here. You don't have to use these. These are just suggestions that might just help to get you going. You can adapt some of them. You can change one of the adjectives. You could change the way it starts. You could put a fronted adverbial in. You could do all sorts of things. But what you can do is you can take these different sentence starters, and using the ideas that you've gathered over the last couple of ideas, you could add to them. So for example, you can see I've taken this one here, scorching sun, which I quite like because it's alliteration, and remembering that our poem is describing the child's walk to get water, as we saw in the video at the start of the week. So I might take this scorching sun sentence starter, my poem, and then I'm going to add to that sentence using some figurative language. So I've added that, scorching sun taps me gently on the shoulder. Now I wonder if you can remember from yesterday what type of figurative language that would be, taps me gently on the shoulder. Hopefully you're all saying personification, because that is making the sun sound like a person coming up and tapping someone on the shoulder. So there we go. That's a simple technique to get you going. I've done another one here. So I've taken at 1 mile, which is following a format of the poem written by Martin Kinsko. So at 1 mile, that's my sentence starter. My feet patter on the powdery path. And again, you can see I've colour coded them. So we've got the sentence starter there. My feet patter. Again, I wonder if you can remember the type of figurative language that is. Hopefully you're all saying onomatopoeia. And on the powdery path, hopefully you will know that that's an example of alliteration. So that way we can start to build up our poem. So use those sentence starters if you need to get you going. You may have ideas of your own, and that is absolutely fine. I'm quite happy for you to explore those. But then when you have done that, you will then come out. What you need to do, and we've done this activity before in class, is you need to write your lines of your poems on strips of paper or post-its at home. So then you can start to build up your poem. So you're taking the examples that we had from the first slide, you would write those out onto bits of paper. So you can see I've had a go at doing that here. I've actually used some different sentence starters as well, but I've used some from the list that I gave you also. So then what you can do is, when you have written these all out, and I've tried to use a combination, so my mouth cracks dry like the dusty path. Hopefully you're saying that's a simile. So I've tried to use that one there. Another day dawning with the weary walk for water. Hopefully you know that's alliteration, and so on and so forth. So try to use a range of different pieces of figurative language to vary my poem and to make it really interesting. What might help then is then you cut your strips of paper up, and then the next part of the activity would be to think about the order of your poem. Sometimes it's just easy to get your ideas down. So if this helps you to get your ideas down, but then if I'm going back through and I'm looking at this, I'm going to think, actually, that's probably my starting line. Another day dawning with the weary walk for water. So if I was then moving them around in my strips of paper before I stick them into my book, I would move that one to the top. Also, as I was going through, what I think is my final line, they're usually the easiest ones to spot, your first and final line, is I think my final line would be, I contemplate the next step. So I would do all this description about how this child is feeling, loads of figurative language, on their walk to get water, and then I would probably finish it with, I contemplate the next step. So have a little play around with that. Use the sentence starters to help you. You can magpie any ideas from here, but do try to include some of your own ideas as well. Change words, change similes, things that we're comparing things to. And then once you're happy moving all things around, you can stick them in your book in the order that you think best works. But that might be something that we go on to tomorrow when we're actually thinking about finishing off our poem. But today, let's concentrate on getting our ideas down. Okay, all right, I hope that helps, and I really look forward to seeing what you come up with. So we will just end that there, okay, and good luck with your poems today, and I look forward to reading them. Bye-bye.